Shut up. Are you telling that to people that already know that? How would you know? Or not? Who the fuck knows? Oh, what they were telling me was they like to pretend like other people are looking into the window with them or watching the feed of them. Anyway. And aside from the fact that they can look through walls and ceilings and whatever, and other things, which is, total invasion of privacy and whatever. But they also sometimes like to repeat like lectures and facts that like we've gone over before, which one of them was the Pepin-Tom law, which a lot of people aren't aware of. But like, even if the window has like there's a crack in the drapes or the lines, or because they used to at the Grove, and before then they used to try to make me think that people were looking in with the drone, with the camera, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, that's not the case. But I mean, they were like, I was like, no, I don't see anyone. But that, and even though you've done this to me several times, it doesn't make it any less irritating and distracting when you're like, oh, I'm looking at you, look, I can see you take a job, you're naked, ooh, you're masturbating, ooh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, I've got, when I was at the Grove in 2017, early on, I literally had a solar, I'm making that character looks like it's very well endowed, but anyway, like, oh no, it's a big penis, oh no, it's a tail, oh no, it's something else, like, it's not real, nobody's turned on by that. People are distracted by that sometimes, but they're not turned on by it, or interested in that, except we can't look away from it because we're like, it's like slowly morphing and changing and blah blah blah, and they're talking our ear off, and they won't shut the fuck up, or they're talking at a subliminal audio level, so the audio level is indistinguishable from thought, so they're constantly taking up bandwidth in your brain. And if they control the speech, if they speak through you, or control the speech that's coming out of you, that takes up even more bandwidth. So if I say what they're saying, or I let them speak through me, it takes up a shit ton of bandwidth. Meaning, where am I? Oh, see, okay. Meaning I can't get anything done. So. They're like, oh, go pee your face. No. Like, you should. No, I shouldn't. But. So, like, look at that. Like, I still got marks from things in the past that have been, I hesitate to do this much on, but the top of my ass crack still has like red marks on it. I guess I should show it. Oh no, that would be an electro laser video, so I don't like mixing them up too much. But I have been doing the heat lamp on me a little bit, and like I've already got all these red marks on me. It's like I didn't have those earlier. And they're like, yeah, we can give you red marks. We can also, the more recent attack that they did on me, which I think I recorded on one of my videos, was a simulation of the feeling of fire ants crawling all over you and biting you. And they were like, that's what Max was feeling. And I was like, great, wonderful. They didn't tell me that at the time, but they just, they told me that now. And they made that look like there were glowing spots on me. They didn't look like ants, but they looked like, glowing tiny spotlights that were, kind of red, fuchsia colored, or something like that. Anyway. But I have a friend here that stays at this hotel, and I told him about what I was going through. And I was like, they pick on people in this area, in this demographic, of people that are homeless or that are hotel hopping, that are basically homeless, but staying in hotels, living paycheck to paycheck, or hustling, trying to get, trying to keep from getting kicked out in the streets. People that are mentally ill, people that are using drugs recreationally or otherwise, whether they're addicts or not, whether they have a problem with it or not. And if they aren't in those demographics, they'll push you into those demographics or paint you as those demographics because those demographics are underserved in our communities, which is, pretty much common sense, but it is kind of and it's not just due to the fault of the people, it's due to the fault of the response that they get. Because I just got the biggest bag of bullshit response ever from my family, friends, APD, or Austin Police Department, Round Rock Police Department, didn't get back with me, Manor Police Department, Travis County Sheriff, the FBI. It's like all it would have taken was an hour or two, would be an hour of someone's time to go talk to two of the suspects that were at the top of the list that did something that was very strange and very bizarre, but still an assault, where one of them took blood from me and only needed one vial and was done. Then she said she didn't get any, and I saw that she had, and I thought, well, maybe she needs to get more, and she forgot to get another vial. So she goes, I'll be right back, or hold on. And then she came back with another woman from the clinic who took this ridiculously sized needle in her hand, and I don't remember her taking it out of like a sterilized package or anything, and went to my other arm and very quickly and maliciously stabbed it. No one would ever mistake that for an attempt to draw blood or to hit a vein. I mean, she might have been trying to hit a vein, but not to get blood from it. Just she literally went like, and then immediately and threw it in the sharps dispenser, or the needle dispenser, and or dispensary, whatever they call it, and smiled at me in a way that I found very spiteful. And this was not too long after the Gang Stalking Terrorist Group were telling me details about visits to that doctor's office from over 10 years before, at that time that they were taunting me with that information, saying, how would we know that? You must be schizophrenic because only you would know that, right? How would we know that? And then that bullshit happened. I'm like, huh. And then Dr. Lambeth was in like, a daze. He was like not himself for a few of those visits, and wasn't responsive to my complaints, nor was my father about the assault. So, nor was APD. And the only people that called me back from APD or Austin Police Department was the mental health crisis team, who said the investigators said that there was not enough to go on. And I was like, you investigate cases in every single one of those categories with far less evidence. You investigate many cases with far less evidence than mine in every single one of those categories. I guarantee it. I was like, I have witnesses. I have a strong suspect list. I'm demonstrating sanity checks in these YouTube videos that I'm sending the sheriff and the chief of police of Austin and the Manor, like about 150-ish emails in a concentrated few days, because I didn't think they understood how around the clock it was and how I was in pain all the time and being attacked all the time. So I was like, I don't think they get it. So let me make videos around the clock. I know that's going to annoy the fuck out of them, but hey, like, I'm not cussing at them. I'm not, I'm not, I mean, sometimes I'm like, hello, like I'm being like fucking assaulted. Like I'm being sexually assaulted. Like, what the, like, you're not doing anything. So they did get to the point where they were all caps and I was changing the font in various colors. I'm like, oh great, I'm doing this. I just love being pushed to this. And I was very disappointed in the mental health crisis team, because I was like, you yourself can look at this and obviously see that there is more than enough to warrant an investigation. It's actually like, it's strongly supported with evidence and a suspect list, and like, you would at least call the victim back and interview the suspects that are listed and take a look at the evidence. Like, they didn't even call me back. The first detective on the main gang stalking case, was which I initially filed, was seeing Jason Barrientos as a suspect for the stolen phone and the hacking of the Google account. Listed me without even talking to me, but just looking at the previous police reports as an EDI, I think, or EDP, emotionally disturbed person or emotionally disturbed individual. So once you get like one or two police reports, even if you're the person that called the cops, uh, it's very easy for that information, that bias, that to plague future police reports and to propagate into future police reports, both when there's an incident and the police respond to something you did or something that they think you did, or to when you call the cops. Um, and I could not believe how many lies were in there, how much misinformation. Like the day after Thanksgiving of 2016, the first time I was forcibly sedated, when I passed the mental health psych exam with the triage nurse and the doctor at the psych ER downtown. The mental health cop that took me there was extremely upset. He was disappointed, upset. He was very pissed off. And the doctor was like, no, just take him back. And he took me out of the building, and I was like, are we going back to the hotel? And he was like, no, we're going somewhere else. And I was like, oh shit. I don't know. He's going to take me somewhere, and they're going to kill me, or they're going to do something, they're going to beat me up, they're going to do something. I don't know. But he took me to St. David South, where he lied to them and said that I was high on meth, which I was not on anything at all. And told them that that's why the ER or the psych ER wouldn't admit me, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world, because all they deal with is our mental health cases, and which some and or drug related incidences, or people that are high on drugs, or having like a bad interaction with drugs, or the lack of drugs and of medicine and prescriptions. And it's like they would never refuse someone that was on meth or heroin, or I'm like, a lot of their mental health patients, ER patients and inpatients self-medicate, and outpatients would self-medicate. Well, I guess there's no outpatients, it's the ER. Plus, Del Seaton is like just a few blocks away, and would easily take those admissions for some reason. If for some reason the psych ER would be like, no, they're high. We don't take high people here. We only take crazy people that are acting bizarre and erratically, but not people that are high and acting bizarre and erratically, or people that you say are high and aren't behaving anything other than a normal, calm human being. That repeatedly says, I'm not thinking about hurting myself or anybody else. And other times I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. I wasn't doing anything. But the cop took me to St. David South, where the doctor asked me 0 questions, walked in, asked everyone how everyone's doing, or how we're doing, and walked out. I made a comment about his badge picture not looking quite like him, which I think the way that it came out sounded probably like, that's not you, but I didn't say it in that way. But like, he literally performed no exam. Not one person asked me if I was allergic to anything. And they literally forcibly sedated something, to which I had an adverse reaction to. I think, because it could have been something the gang stalkers did to me to mimic an adverse reaction. So I have no idea. One time I was forcibly sedated with a drug that might have caused me to have a dangerously dip in low blood pressure. I've never had low or high blood pressure, and my blood pressure dropped when I was unconscious, and they had to administer some other drug to bring it back to normal, which, that's never happened in my entire life. And I didn't even know that until months later, when I got copies of all my medical records and looked through every single page of every single report. I was like, oh my God, I could have died just then. And it might have been because of the drug that they gave me, which I also found out, I think it's the same one that they use in surgeries to suppress the ability to retain memory. So I do remember waking up in the ER and going to the bathroom and maybe giving a urine sample one time, but I barely remember that. But yeah, all the hospital records and medical records and police records are just bullshit. I'm like, oh, and he wrote that I said that I believed that people were trying to control me using infrared beams. or infrared rays. And I was like, I never said anything like that. I have never said that I thought people were trying to control me using infrared beams. I've never even mentioned the I didn't whenever I called the police, I didn't mention anything but the pain pretty much. And if I mentioned voices, it was always from afar, because unfortunately, when you mention anything that resembles schizophrenia, they lump everything under that. And so suddenly electrocution is schizophrenia, frostbite sensations are schizophrenia. These attacks that people can feel external to your body, those are dismissed, and it's just schizophrenia, and then you're causing mass hysteria to other people. It's the biggest bag of bullshit ever. Or people are just pretending that they're not seeing the biggest obvious bullshit that's on a YouTube channel and not commenting on it, not telling me that they believe me, and literally would let me die from being pushed to suicide or being murdered or to hurt, being pushed beyond the limit to going after some of the suspects myself and to force them to confess and to tell them that I'm telling the truth, and which I have vehemently refused to do, despite them strongly urging me to, which would already be understandable for any person to have a desire to do. And so I get treated like the terrorist man from my doctor's office for telling them about that and linking them to my YouTube video on my review of the doctor's office. And I'm like, I didn't threaten them. I'm telling you guys that the people that they did this for, risked their lives or tried to get me to retaliate in a very escalated, try to make me go down there and hold a gun to them, or go down there and shoot up the office, and multiple times. And especially when I was under very stressful situations, they're like, didn't it suck that they still work there? And you could just an hour of someone's time or less could get a confession from one or both of them. They know that what they did, and so they know about us, and it's been 3 years now, Kip. And oh, and that suck. And maybe if you just gone down there the next day or stayed there and beat the shit out of them after they did that to you, instead of being in shock and then leaving the office in shock, maybe you would have gotten the truth, or maybe you would have gotten arrested and put in prison, or killed by a cop bullet. It's yeah, that's a wonderful risk. What a great set of risks to take, all because no one does the right thing, not even my family. So, should there be people pretending to not believe me and trying to get me to hang in there, keep in mind, you can send a lot more money than that. You can send me somewhere else. You can make it so that someone else does believe me, maybe my boss at work or the people at work, and maybe they call someone at court, and they believe me, or they feel they wave their hands over my feet and they feel the shocks, or they look at the videos and they're like, oh, we believe you. We're going to call the police on your behalf, and because you're an employee and we care about you, and we're not going to just let this happen to you while you're working here. We're going to get the police involved and make sure that we get a police officer that comes over and believes you and believes us, and probably already does in advance. And then we just act like normal, decent people that are investigating it, and not oh my God, we gotta get Kip and rescue him. We gotta do it really fast before they kill him with these electro lasers, which are lethal, but are guys, you're letting them kill me anyway by letting me slowly and for an extended period of time suffer more irreparable damage to my body and psyche. Plus, you would literally let me die any moment now from them, not ever knowing if I was ever believed, or if anything was going to change, or if I would ever have anything but severe pain, mentally and physically, and be isolated for the rest of my life, never having anything that was satisfying or fun or being happy. I don't understand that. That's not an acceptable risk to take for even a moment. And it's well, just hang in there, just suffer one more day. No. I guess I'll have to, but and I'm they keep doing that, and things keep they keep reminding me of things, and like people keep saying things, and it's like, so do people know or don't know? Are the terrorists speaking or subliminally dropping words into other people's conversations, or getting them to say things, like dropping hints? I'm like, I can't get into that whole hint thing again. Like a car passed by the month I was off work that had the last 4 of my social on it, and they were like, look over there, look at these license, look at these cars you're going by, look at this, look at this. And around that same time, cars were honking as they went by. Not in a you're cutting me off sort of way, but in every time we pass by here, we honk. And a lot of cars rev their engines, but they always did that. But the honking thing has been only like a month old. And even when I've traveled away from that area, I think once, maybe just once, so maybe I can't consider this one, there was a car that passed me by and like honked. And it didn't appear like there was anybody to honk at, for like any reason to like alert anyone. So maybe it was somebody at work, but like I think they would have, like, since I wasn't at work that day and I wasn't near work, that someone would just honk and like like even a school bus went by and honked, and like these other things honked, and some of them honked multiple times, and I'm like, I don't understand this. Like, I do not understand what takes so long. Like, get me the fuck out of here. And then if Max has not already been secretly rescued and out of Austin himself, then like get your ass down here, Dad, and or Robin, or both of you, and you stay in a tent